Welcome to the #InvestThis podcast, where the secrets for real estate investing are revealed. Now, here's your host, Scott Bauer.
And welcome everybody to the 60th episode of the #InvestThis podcast. I'm your host, Scott Bauer. Today, we have Raul Bolufe out of Miami. Raul, how are you, man?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me, bro. I appreciate that.
Yeah, love you being here. Excited to chat for a little bit about Raul. Like I said, he's down in the Miami market. He started investing in real estate at 21 years old with the hopes of improving the quality of service for both buyers and sellers alike. His main focus is real estate investing, and he was able to grow his company from humble beginnings into a local established brand. He quickly realized that being the best version of himself and, in essence, doing this for other people was not only his driving force, but the ticket to success. Currently, he's got some students that he guides through the process with the ultimate goal of helping them grow their own business. Transaction after transaction, he has discovered his passion for helping others achieve success in the industry, specifically those starting from scratch like he did. Having pursued an economics degree at Florida International University, he proceeded to engage in the exciting and fast-paced industry of investment real estate, being passionate about looking for the best and most efficient ways to search for discounted deals and pass them off to other investors so they can turn a profit, has fueled him to progress as quickly as possible. He's now only 25 years old, but he sold over 300 homes. He owns a small rental portfolio of single-family houses, currently operating with a team of 10 people and counting, and he aims to constantly learn so he may improve the way they help investors succeed in real estate investing. So that was a lot, man, but appreciate you being here.
Oh, thanks, man. I like that intro. I didn't know the whole thing was going to be red. I would have shortened it a little bit. But now I put myself way too high up there now.
No, I mean, I think it's good. Sometimes I like these longer, kind of explanations about you because it gives the listeners more of a background of who you are, right?
Right.
So, of all you listeners out there, so that you know, Raul and I are in the same one of the same mastermind groups together, and we actually just spent some time down in the Dominican Republic masterminding, and of course, it was a great time. But Raul, why don't you give the listeners a little bit more about your background in addition to what I've already mentioned?
Right? It's a mic drop. Let's just end this right now. Right? No, dude. Man. Thanks again for having me. So kind of like what the intro said. I started younger, and I was going to school. I was doing my economics degree, bachelor's degree. I was also selling cars for my dad's dealership. And that's kind of like when my whole entrepreneurial mind started like forming in there. When I saw that I had to like talk to people to sell cars, and I had to and I wouldn't eat, I physically wouldn't have any money unless I had to sell something. And I think that's the best. Doesn't have to be car sales, but I think starting off in sales young is probably the best thing you can do for yourself.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, dude, not only for entrepreneurship, but for your mind, you get to like talk to people and get out of your comfort zone because you have to. But anyway, so I was doing that, and then I'm like, fuck, I was kind of bumping up a little bit. I started, I became like the internet manager and blah, blah, blah. And I liked it, but I'm like, man, I feel like there's more for me. I don't know what else to do. And then I've kind of always knew about real estate. I always knew that it existed. I knew that people were making money in it. My stepdad had just fix and flipped his first house or two, and I asked him how does that work? What's the deal with that? And he told me, he's like, well, it's pretty cool, but you should learn because there's someone called a wholesaler who sold me the house. Like, what is that? So then I looked it up on podcasts, and I found Sean Terry's. And then probably like a product of a lot of us on that mastermind. I don't know how many of us on that mastermind started from his podcast, but dude, that's pretty much what
it was Sean's podcast. It was Justin's podcast. It was, the major players out there that are helping to provide that information for people. Right. And it's cool to be part and connected with all those guys. That's for sure.
No, it's super cool. And I always think about like, man, I don't know how people don't take advantage of all these podcasts. Like there's so much cool free content out there. But anyways, so I listened to a podcast, bro. I was just, I was just a kid with that wanted to make some money, and I wanted to kind of be I wasn't really thinking about like being free so much. I was more just thinking of like I want to be more free than I am now. That's all I want. I was working weekends, 70, 80 hours a week, making good money, but like just wasn't what I wanted. So that's kind of how I got started, man. On a podcast. I wish I had a more glamorous story. I mean, I come from pretty good family, meaning money wise and stuff, but they didn't give me anything. My allowance was actually $50 a week, and I had a car that the gas was $40 a week. So which
Didn't
was
leave you with much.
yeah. So I had to like take kids home from school for like $10, and so I could take my girlfriend out at the time. But anyways, dude, that's how I started, and just learned to know. I got like a local mentor, learned how to do one deal, and then just kept going and figuring shit out until you do 10, 20, 30.
Yeah, man. This podcast is listened to by a lot of different people. We got experienced investors, we have new investors, we have people that are in fix and flips, wholesaling, multifamily syndication, commercial investment, all the different pieces. And I think it's important for people to understand, you said your story is not glamorous, but the reality is that's what most people are, right? I mean, you saw an opportunity, wanted to make a better life for yourself. So what did you do? You took a hold of it, you found a mentor, and you figured out how to do it, right? And so that is the exciting part. Let's dive in now. Now that we have a little background story about you, let's dive in. What does your business look like now? And how long has it been? Because, I mean, in all reality, man, you're 25 years old. That's phenomenal. I remember that was a short time ago for me. And it's cool what you're doing. And I think it can really motivate a lot of people out there that might be listening to this podcast to really get off their ass and go do something.
Yeah, no, and that's the reason I like doing these podcasts, because I mean, there's so many limiting beliefs out there through age, and it happened to me. And I'm not this mega millionaire or anything, but basically, age doesn't really matter if you want to go do something.
Right.
And that's kind of like what I'm hoping to do, inspire at least one person. But so go back to the question. So what does it look like now? We do wholesale. Like 98% of our business is wholesale. We will buy and hold here, there, this and that, but wholesale business. We got a team of about 10, 11 people, and we got a team of 10, 11 people. I say because salespeople come in, come out, things like that. But we have a couple. We have a transaction coordinator. We have 5 acquisitions guys who are doing. 4 of them are doing MLS. One of them is doing the off-market stuff, so going on appointments. We got 2 leads managers, a runner, COO, and me. I don't think I missed anyone. Oh, and like a part-time kind of camera guy that does like some YouTube stuff that we're trying to do. But that's kind of like what the team looks like now. And now we're just going out there and wholesaling deals, both on market and off market. I don't know if you want to dive into that a little bit later, but that's kind of what it looks like now.
I mean, so you started as an agent, or you kind of mentioned earlier in the call that you had a stepfather that flipped a house or 2, and you're like, how do you do that? But how did you really get started in real estate? I mean, did you go to get your real estate license and then go to a brokerage and hang your license there and then just start buying and selling for other people? How'd that work?
Got it. No, so it was through that like local mentor. So I found out he flipped the house. He said someone sold it to him. I listened to a podcast, and then I'm like, all right, can you introduce me to that guy? He said, yeah, actually he puts on the bottom of his email blast that he'll mentor people. So then I didn't have any more money at the time. So he actually let me borrow $2,500 to meet with this guy. And that's exactly how I got started. And I wasn't an agent. I never became an agent.
Are you still not an agent?
Still not an agent.
My man. All right.
Yeah. Still not an agent. So his model was find deals off the MLS and wholesale them, the mentor guy. And that's exactly how I got started, man. He, paid, it was $5,000 for the mentoring for 3 months, I believe, or 6 months, something like that. And so 2,500 up front. I didn't have the money, so and then I would go meet him once a month in person, and he taught me exactly like how to find an MLS deal and how to sell it. And that's exactly how I got started.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I know, I mean, one of the unique things that Raul brought to the table at our mastermind was his ability to go to the MLS and find deals on the MLS and wholesale them, because in every market, it's going to be a little bit different. Some markets it works in, some it doesn't. Phoenix market that I'm in right now, yes, you can do it. I think from time to time, there might be a deal here or there, but it's very, very difficult because of the market that we're in here in Phoenix. And I would think Miami would be the same way, but you're living proof that that's not the case.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen lately it's gotten a lot tougher. We still are finding deals and doing them, but it's just requiring double or triple the effort, double or triple the offers, and things like that. But it's still possible. It's still possible.
Yeah, right. What do you think is the biggest obstacle that you've had to jump through at this point, up to this point?
As far as like in business and stuff?
Yeah, the business, finding deal, I mean, just, whatever roadblocks you've had to push through up to now.
That's a awesome question.
Because I'm here to test you, bro. I'm here to test you.
No, that's awesome. I feel like every day there's one, right? But
right.
The biggest one I would say is like shifting, like to make a lot of money in this business, you should be a business, right? Like you could do it one person, like one off. And to be a business, you gotta like really think differently.
Oh yeah.
Because like going from hustler to business person, for me was a huge shift. Like that's probably the biggest hurdle. Meaning, how do you split profits and how do you pay people and hire and like.
Dude, that's the hardest part. I would say one of the hardest parts.
Yeah, man. Because not only is that hard to do, it's hard to like wrap your head around it to do it like right.
Right.
So I would say that's probably the biggest challenge so far.
That's I appreciate you sharing that, because I think that's, in my business, that was always a struggle. Now we've gone through 5 people, just kind of, but I think that's what you have to do. And that's just part of it. That's part of owning a business. You go from being a solopreneur to an entrepreneur. That's the transition, growing pains you have to go through. We kind of, do you think that you're going to, as the markets change, and actually, have you heard of a book called Shift by Gary Keller? Have you heard of that book before?
I believe I heard it in our mastermind. Gary Keller is the Keller Williams guy.
Right.
I haven't read it or anything, but
so and all the listeners out there, and including yourself, I would recommend reading that book. I read it back in 2015. Yeah, 2015. I read that book, and that was right when the markets were changing from being completely down under to now we're starting to go up again. But what that book talks about is how to survive a shifting market. And that's the reality of it. We're all going to go through market cycles in the real estate world. Doesn't matter where you're at, what part of the country or what market you're in, it goes through a cycle. And so what might work today in your business might not work tomorrow. And you have to understand how to shift, right? So that's what that book's all about. I just thought I'd share that with you.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I wrote it down. I'm going to get it.
Are you a partner, or is this your business?
It's mine. Recently, about like 8 months ago, a friend of mine that we were friends like since high school, he came in and he's kind of like the COO role. So I guess we're kind of partners on paper. It's not, but like we're basically partners at this point. Okay.
Well, and the reason why I was asking that question is what are your thoughts on partnerships? You got 2 different ways to do it. You can either you can own the business yourself, or you can be in a partnership. Do you feel like partnerships are good?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I feel like that's not a thing people talk about often, right?
Right.
I think that's awesome. So I think partnerships are good depending on like goals. So if your goal is to be really big, or if your goal is to generate tons of revenue, I would say partnerships can work. If your goal is to live a lifestyle business, meaning have a business to spend more time with family, travel, etc., then I don't know. I don't think a partner would be good in wholesale, this specific business.
Mm-hmm.
But I think getting a partner, if you guys, want a bunch of $1 million business, if you want tons of people and grow and do something crazy, I think definitely a partner helps, because it's hard to like consult all that by yourself.
Yeah, it can certainly be a challenge. Partner, you're right. There's definitely a difference between a lifestyle business. It's all in goals. That's for sure. What is important to you? And I think as business owners, those goals change. When you first started your company, what did you envision it to be? And how long ago was that? 5 years? Or 4 years?
5 years.
Okay.
What did I envision it? I was so like young and stupid, and I still am, but I was so young and stupid that like I didn't even think I was gonna have like people working with me. I just thought of like, man, like I guess like what I envisioned was make money without like having to like do it for someone else type of thing.
Yeah,
Like,
be an entrepreneur, work for yourself.
yeah, and you probably wasn't forever gonna be like that. That was kind of like my first thought. I was like, what do I envision for myself? Okay, I want to do deals so that I don't have to like work weekends for anybody else. Like that's literally as simple as like my little brain did that.
Yeah. And what do you think is going to happen from here? Let's fast forward 5 years from today. What does the business look like then?
Bro, I definitely I want to reach, I don't know if it's going to be in this specific wholesale business. I want to keep a wholesale business forever, but to answer your question, I want to get to like 100 million in something. I don't know if it's wholesale. I don't know if it's real estate commercial. I don't know what it is. So as far as business, that's kind of, I'm just so young and I don't have anything else to do. Like this is what I like for real. Like, this is my hobby. So it's not even about the money. It's more like a challenge. Like what's the person I'm going to become at 100 million? Like, how do I get there? How can I push through these barriers? Like, how can I uncover shit that I didn't even know I could do? Things like that.
Right. And that's massive and super important to think big. I mean, all of the mentors out there talk about you got to think big, shoot for the moon and really try to get there. Because even if you come up short, you'll probably still be a lot greater ahead than where you are today. But also breaking it down into bite-sized chunks, right? So, want to get to 100 million. Okay, well, if you got to get to 100 million, let's get to 1 million first, right? Once you get, or 500,000 first, or for all the listeners out there, it's like setting these achievable goals that are really possible.
Yeah.
That was a huge takeaway for me. A long time ago, I was like, I wanted to be, like my first year in real estate as an agent, I was like, I'm going to do 100 houses. And I remember the broker at the time was like, yeah, that's a great goal. But I mean, let's be real. That's a shit ton of houses. That's a lot, right? That's way more. So that's not really an achievable goal. At least it wasn't for me at that time. So, just making sure that everything's in check.
And I always say like people start with like these huge goals sometimes, and I think that's awesome. But I would say like make a goal that actually excites you, and it could be like superficial, right? So like I said, when I was that age, probably when you started, I don't know, but like, does it have to be a goal of like, I want to change the world? It could be a goal like, I want a new car, or I want to move out of my house, or, I want a different apartment. Like, and then you work towards that. And then when you get there, then you can start setting it a little bit bigger and say, okay, now I want to like teach people or whatever. But, I'm a big fan of like, dude, even if it's superficial, if it gets you excited, that is your goal.
Yeah, I agree to that. What do you think about this? So you're in Miami. I mean, do you want to move outside of Miami? What's your thoughts on investing outside of your own market or of your own backyard?
It excites me. So the answer is yes. There's plenty of business to do here. Definitely we can go like really deep and build like a really nice business here. But it excites me to go other places, not just for the sake of going other places, but for the sake of like having a business model that can, be replicatable. Like that shit excites me. I think that's super cool. I mean, I don't know. That's my take on that. So yes, I definitely want to go other places.
What other markets are you looking at now?
Right now, different parts of Florida.
Yeah.
There's just so many markets in Florida that are like the top growing markets in the whole U.S. Jacksonville's a big one. Tampa's huge. Orlando has a ton of new population coming in because the hospitals are building. Cape Coral is also a really big one. It's like a smaller B or C tier market that they're building the biggest VA hospital, on this side of the U.S. So there's like tons of opportunity in Florida. So I'm focusing now on building different, systems to be able to go to these places.
Are you afraid that over, in a short amount of time here, Florida is just going to sink into the ocean?
I think about that, honestly. If anything, Miami would be the first ones to sink.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, definitely a danger. I see that being like a realistic danger, like in 20 years. Or that's like what people say. That's what I've read. So I'm just going to try to make a bunch of money before 20 years is up.
Yeah, I mean, 20 years in all reality, 20 years is not that long, right? 20 years will fly by very, very quickly. And I think it's going to be longer than 20 years before Florida falls off. I mean, there'll be a lot of very, very upset people if that happened.
Yeah.
I think, Florida's great though, man. I was just there coming back from the DR. We stayed there for a day. I missed you guys because you guys flew in a little bit later, but and it is a very cool place, one that I don't know a whole lot about, but I'd like to learn a lot more and possibly even buy something there. I think, unless it falls in, unless it sinks, then probably not.
Did you end up like going out stuff here, by the way?
No. Well, we were only there for a day. So we got in at like 9 a.m. and we ended up leaving and flying back to Phoenix at 9 p.m. So we went and we, had lunch and had a couple of drinks, just kind of walking down the strip. We had just watched that Versace show on Netflix and actually like stood in front of his house where he got shot, and that was cool.
Yeah.
But what's that?
Right there on South Beach.
Yep, down South Beach, right? Yeah. And it was the weather wasn't great, so but it was a lot of fun. It's a great place. I think there's a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah.
Have you thought about investing outside of single family? I mean, doing any other sort of apartments or commercial buildings, anything like that? Or are you staying in single family for now?
For now, staying in single family. I thought about it, and definitely something in the future I'd want to do. But for now, it's a single family. I just see like there's still tons of opportunity in single family. It's just like what we see every day,
Right. Yeah. No, and that's absolutely true. There's a ton of opportunity there. Everybody needs somewhere to live, right? So that's the most important part. Last question here before I think we're getting closer on time here. But last question to kind of figure out what do you think the impact is that you're on your market? Like right now, what are you feeling like is going on in that Miami market? What is the impact of the market on your business?
Got it. So basically what is the market? How does the market like influence like our business, making money?
Yep.
Stuff? I try not to blame the market, right? I think us as like real estate entrepreneurs, we try to be like, no, the market, whatever. And to some extent, we can control a bunch of shit. Now, definitely it impacts the effort level of us as a company, right? So when there's a tons of foreclosures, for example, we make 10 offers and we get one deal. There's not a lot of foreclosures. We got to make 50 offers to get one deal. So it doesn't change that we can make the same or even more amounts of money. I would say the market impacts directly. It's a direct correlation of our effort as a business owner, as agents, as acquisitions, as sales. We definitely have to work a lot harder and smarter to get the same amount of deals, income, things like that. So, and a couple shifts here and there, but so yeah, the market impacts effort. That's like my take on that.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
I don't know how you feel about it. I'm actually curious to know how you feel, because I know you do a lot of like the off market and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, we pull a lot of off market stuff. I mean, the markets are changing, but for the wholesale business or any sort of distressed asset type of business, there's always opportunities. You just got to make sure that you can find those opportunities and finding the marketing channels. So in our business, it's a direct correlation of marketing effort, right? If you're marketing and you're able to get in front of these distressed assets, then you're going to have a higher probability and much better chance of getting a lot more deals.
Right.
So, it's always playing with different marketing channels, figuring out what's working, what's not working, and making those tweaks here and there. And I think that's an ever changing cycle. So.
No, I hear you, man. And I mean, I don't like to say that like the market's effect, but in our business, it has something, like if there's less inventory, there's less inventory.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's certainly important. You can't ignore the fact that the market has an impact of some sort on your business, because it does. It's just, how do you shift, right? How do you shift when the markets change?
It shouldn't be used as an excuse to like not make more money. Basically, if there's less inventory, go different places. If that marketing channel is not working, do another one. So it's like it's not an excuse, but it's definitely, I think it's good for us entrepreneurs to understand what happens. Like what you should do.
Yeah, absolutely. So 5 years from now, we're gonna still see you there in Miami. You're still gonna be flipping houses. You're still gonna be doing that.
Yeah, man, I love this place, dude. I really do. I love it, man.
It is pretty nice.
Born and raised, I just love it here.
I got to come back and visit you here pretty soon.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right. So I appreciate you sharing the information, giving the listeners a little bit more about what's going on in Miami, about your business, about what you had to go through to get to where you're at now, a little bit of what you're planning on doing, staying in that market, or maybe expanding out, and just continuing to crush it. I know you guys are doing some good things down there. So are you ready for a lightning round? We're coming up on time.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Cool. What is your hashtag invest this tip to keep our listeners moving forward? If you could give them one.
Stay persistent, man. Just don't give up. I know it's so cliche, but just don't give up.
You know what? You hear that from everybody, right? Don't give up. But if you never give up, you can never be beaten. The only way that you can lose is if you stop trying. So appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, just to add like a little snippet to that is like, make sure you do the right shit and don't give up doing the right shit. That's basically it.
Thanks for sharing that. Do you have a favorite book that's had a massive impact on your life or your business, or both?
10X Rule, Grant Cardone.
Boom. Yep. That's a good one. I recommend everybody reading it if you haven't already. What about?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say just huge on mindset and business. So it's like a pretty well-rounded book.
Mm-hmm. And if you listen to it or read it, you can I listened to it the first time on Audible, but I can tell you I was fired up.
Yeah.
I mean, you're fired up and ready to go crush it. So good recommendation. Thanks for that. What about advice? You'd mentioned at the very beginning of your career, you had a mentor. What is some really good advice he gave you?
The good advice he said was kind of like, think about real estate abundantly, meaning lots of offers, there's lots of deals, there's lots of investors. Like just putting that in my head over and over was amazing, because like I never felt like those scarce amount of resources out there.
Yep.
And I think that's the best advice. Like, just think abundantly. Think that there's tons of deals, things that there's tons of offers you can make. Think that there's tons of money, and just thinking that was awesome.
Yeah, man, that's huge. That's massive. Abundance is everywhere. All of you listeners out there, believe in that, because it's the truth. There's more than, we can even conceive out there for everybody.
It really is, man.
So, how do you like to give back?
I like doing, I do like free meetups here once a month. And I give back to people who want to learn. I'm really big on I like to give back to people who want it, who want to receive it, because whatever, there's different types of people in this world. But so I really love to give back those free meetups. And every once in a while I have a charity that I donate or work with of foster kids. So down here in Miami. So that's a way I like to give back as well.
Yeah. Well, I think, just hosting the meetups is massively impactful, because you're allowing people to come in and learn. Like you said, the people that want to learn, you're happy to share. So That's huge. I think that's a massive give back, and I'm sure that they all appreciate that. It's good to hear that you're making an impact down there like that.
Yeah, actually, I got inspired by you a while ago. I remember one of the first times I saw you kind of like present a little bit about your business. That one of your biggest things were your meetups. That you had a bunch of people going and things like that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. Appreciate that. How can the listeners reach you if they want to learn more about you? If they want to attend your meetup? If they want to bring you a deal? How do they find you? Where do they find you at?
Cool. You could find me on Instagram, Raul Bolufe, Facebook, Raul Bolufe. I have the YouTube channel, also Raul Bolufe. RaulBolufe.com should be up this week. So I don't know when this podcast is coming out, but I've literally been working on that for the past couple of weeks. So you can find me anything, Raul Bolufe, just type it in. YouTube is like my new little baby. We're doing a bunch of vlogs and things like that. So yeah. It's something that might interest you guys.
Yeah, man. No, I appreciate you being here, and I look forward to keeping in touch with you. I'll let you know when we're coming down to Miami next. Definitely keep in touch on that. We're gonna make it happen.
Yeah, dude, make it happen. I think we'll have a good time, man.
Pretty soon. Yeah. Sounds good. Well, Raul, thanks again for being here. We will let you know when this goes out, and hope you have a great day.
Awesome, dude. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Talk to you real soon.
All right, peace.
Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this podcast to help us spread the word. Go ahead and reach out to Scott Bauer on all the social media outlets for suggestions on topics and guests for the show. And check out investthispodcast.com for more secrets and resources to achieve real success in real estate.